Welcome. Sorry, the chair made me do that. What this hat makes me want to do is sing Happy Birthday the way Frankenfurter does in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but I'm not going to do that. So as you can see, it's time for celebration. This is my 1-year Booktube anniversary. I first became aware of Booktube from Bookrat Misty's channel. She posted her videos on her book blog, The Bookrat, and I followed her over from there and found this whole community of readers. I started posting videos during the Booktube-a-thon last year because of Wiebke from One Book, One Review. I was sort of hesitating and I was talking to her in her comments about perhaps posting a video, and she told me to go for it. So she was the first person who ever commented on my channel. When I started making the videos, I started filming them on my tablet. Since then I bought this OK webcam and I'm using it, and I think the next step would be to choose an editing program. I've been trying some out, but I haven't really found one that I like. So if you have any recommendations, please tell me, because so far I've been editing my videos on YouTube, and it's such a pain because every time you make a cut it skips back to the beginning and then you have to jump back and make another cut and so on. But let's not complain. Instead, I want to thank Wiebke and Misty one last time, and then I want to do the on my shelf tag. Earlier on Twitter I asked people to give me coordinates, and let's take this off. And some people replied, and let's start the tag. And lo and behold, the first comment came from Wiebke, and she gave me 3-7, which was Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice. I bet a lot of you know what this story is about. It's about the vampire Louis telling his life story to a reporter, and he starts from his youth in New Orleans where he meets the vampire Lestat. This is a 20th anniversary edition. I bought this when I was 16 and on a school trip to London, and I bought it from Harrods. And I think it's quite a nice edition. Of course I have book 2 and 3 and they don't match, but who cares? This is one of my favorite books. The next coordinates came from Estelle from Autumn Entha, who gave me 5-13, and that turned out to be Shirley Jackson's The Tooth. This is the Penguin Modern Classics edition. And it contains some of her short stories, including The Tooth and The Lottery. And I remember I quite liked this. I liked the title story the best. And Shirley Jackson is a great writer. I've read a couple of her books, and my favorite is The Haunting of Hill House. Then Catherine from The Android's Conundrum gave me 5-7, so more from my classic self. And that was Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I read this book last year and I really liked it. I gave it 5 stars. It's about a young woman who marries a rich man and goes to live at his house and grounds. And Rebecca is the name of his past wife who died in a boating accident. I don't have much to say about this particular edition except that I thought it was pretty, so that's the edition I bought. The next 2 coordinates came from Mary Sexton, who gave me 8-5, which is the illustrated edition of Stardust by Neil Gaiman, illustrated by Charles Vess. I think this is the older edition. I think the newer cover has another illustration. Perhaps it has just a star in it, if I remember correctly. But this is also a book that I bought on that first trip to London when I was 16. I bought this from Waterstones at Piccadilly, which is one of my favorite bookstores and one of my favorite places to visit whenever I'm in London. I remember I was quite apprehensive about talking to the staff and asking for this illustrated edition because I couldn't find it myself. I only found the regular edition. But I managed to talk to the staff and they gave me this. Mary actually gave me 2 sets of coordinates, and sorry, that was actually 3-1, and this is 5-8. It's from my comic shelf. It's Gore, Honor and Brains by Miisa Lopperi. It's a small print comic from a Finnish author. It's a comic fantasy story about this huge barbarian. And I have to say that I don't actually quite remember what the plot was about. I remember that I liked it and it was quite fun, and it is on Smack Chiefs at the moment, so if you want to read this, just go to smackchiefs.com and search for Gore. So this is the official start of another year of booktubing, and I hope I do well, and here's to another year.